All right. So, if you were on the stream over the weekend, I decided that I was going to start trying to pick up Rust again. And we went through all of the, what's it called? Rustlings exercises. And let's see. Okay. So, over the weekend, I streamed for quite a bit of time. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Thanks for the raid. So I was just kind of going over what I was working on over the weekend. So over the weekend, I decided to get on and try to brush up on some Rust. And so I went through all of the Rustlings exercises. And it turns out, new here, welcome Snazenberg. Dr. Dumenberg was here. There was actually quite a few people here watching me flail around miserably. So it turned out I was actually a lot rustier with Rust, pun intended, than I anticipated. So I decided that I'm going to do some of the Exorcism IO exercises in Rust. So you all can either help or laugh at me. Either one is acceptable. And so I did one of them, and we're going to look at that one first. So it was just a basic exercise of like reversing a string. Are we still counting your use of the word rusty? You can. I don't know whether Rocker Boo is here. If you want to keep count for him, I'm sure he would appreciate that. +2. Okay, here's the question though. Does it count if I'm reading your message that says rusty? Like, did that count? Are we at 3 now? All right, all right. So now I'm going to have to pay attention. So, the Exorcism IO, if you've never done these, it's really interesting the way they format these. So you can either kind of do like a self-paced thing where you just do the exercises yourself, or you can do like this mentor approach. Just pronounce it really weird. Yeah, like, does roosty count? We're going to have to make up a new word for it. Does crusty count? So the mentor approach, you have a mentor who reviews your solution and then offers advice. Rusty, I like it. So in this case, the mentor that looked at this mentions that in the standard library there's something that reverses the direction of an iterator. So I kind of like this because I think one of the issues you suffer from trying to learn a new language isn't just trying to learn like the language syntactically. It's understanding everything that exists in the standard library and what methods are available. Thanks for the follow, Nerdy Tech. And so kind of familiarizing yourself with those, the common packages that everybody uses, as well as like idiomatic ways of doing things. So as an example, in Rust, it seems like the idiomatic thing is to not
we have a new follower.
to not do return, but to just do the statement. I'm surprised you've been here, Dr. Dumenberg, for like, I don't know, five minutes and you haven't changed us to pink yet. You're slipping. There we go. So I want to let's go take a look at the standard library for iterators, and I'm trying to make sure I find this. Thanks for the follow, Ravenous. All right, so Rust.
Someone finds you interesting, sir. It appears we have a new follower.
See, I think that I don't have to implement that feature. I think that all of you've got this covered. Okay, so we need our iterator type. Standard iterator. I'm guessing this is what we're looking for. And it mentions something about reversing and ooh. Okay, so usually iterators iterate from left to right. After using rev, an iterator will instead iterate from right to left. Okay. Thank you for the follow, Slayer. Are you outsourcing your bot functions to us? I am. To save time and money, we're going to have to crowdsource this thing.
Someone finds you interesting.
Thanks for the follow, Teej.
It appears we have a new follower.
So if you don't know, you can change the colors. Everybody who's been
Someone
here will
find
show
you
you.
interesting, sir. It appears we have a
You
new
were
follower.
not following, and that's okay. I forgive you, Tej. So you gotta love that when like you get busted. Thanks for the follow, Lurk Ops. Like on Twitter or something like that, you realize you haven't been following somebody you know really well, and like you're like, I need to follow them, but if I follow them, then they're
Someone
gonna
find
know
you
I haven't
interesting,
been
sir.
following
It
them.
appears we have a new follower.
Thanks for the follow, GZB. You just bit them. It's more embarrassing later, Teach. If you waited like a month or two, it becomes even more embarrassing, and then you just can't at that point. Okay, so it looks like we call Rev on this, and then we're gonna reverse the iterator. So we're gonna try to submit this the other way the mentor mentions. Now, one thing that I did notice was that Rust, is anybody here in the Rust world? It appears that it doesn't do grapheme, so, well, at least natively, we need a crate for that, which means like specific characters, like wide characters, if we iterate over them, then we're actually going byte by byte, and it's not a full character. So we're gonna have to solve that one, I think, separately. Okay, so this is where we have been doing Go, and you've been watching me fly through it. This is where you watch me fumble like crazy with a language that I'm not familiar with at all. So let's switch over here. And so in this case, if we just do this, will this work? No method rev found first. Oh, wait, no. Because we need the iterator and then we reverse it. And then this does not need to be mutable. And let's test this. Sweet. All right, so I got to remember this. It's exorcism, submit. I always forget the syntax for this. Has anybody here used exorcism before? Where's the submit thing? That's to download it. What is the... I always forget the name of it. Not at all, but I want to know because it's called exorcism, yeah. I'm sure that I... Wait, why is that not found? Oh, because I'm putting a C in there. At least one argument. Oh, I think we just passed it, source lib rs. Yeah, for some reason I thought it was a flag. Okay, so we submitted that. So that's going to take a little bit for our mentor to get back to us. So what we can do is we can either force move on, or we can come out here to some of these additional things. So it works in sort of like this. You complete the individual stages, but you'll unlock like these like side mission quest things, and side quests are always fun. So let's see if we can implement some of these. Leap. All right, given a year, report if it is a leap year. The tricky thing here is that a leap year in the Gregorian calendar occurs on every year that is evenly divisible by 4, except every year that is evenly divisible by 100, unless the year is also evenly divisible. Wow. Okay. So we need to go download this exercise. What's this, the blue guy? What are we talking about? Yeah, so I didn't read the actual leap year requirements in college and got a bad grade on this assignment. So there's actually this website, what's it called? Your calendric fallacy is? It's something like that, hold on. Your calendrical. Okay, so if you have not read this website, I don't know why that has all this extra stuff. You need to spend like, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes reading through here, and if you didn't already hate dates, you will. Because apparently there's like leap seconds and things like that. And like in the Hebrew calendar, leap years 7 times in a 19-year. Yeah, it's wild. Any programmer will tell you dates are the worst thing ever. All right, so we've got our failing test here. Oh, these are all ignored. What's our current one? You're not divisible by 4. Yeah, humanity should start using an atomic clock. Exactly. Okay. All right, so we've got unimplemented. So we can start by making our tests pass. So we're just going to return year mod 4 equals 0. Yay, TDD. All right, and now let's open up our tests. Is it ignored? No. What is the flag for running our ignored tests?
How did you do that? How did you do that?
Oh, we've got an extra set of hyphens here. Okay. Okay, let's start again. Let's all agree that right now is 0, and we'll go from there. All right. Yeah, I think that should be our new epoch. Is from the moment Eric decided to learn Rust. I think we can all agree on that, right? Or do we count from the moment that I'm proficient in Rust? Okay, so test century. Okay, so let's work on that one. So our rules were, let's just copy our rules over here so that we have them. Okay, so we have this evenly divisible by 4, except every year that is evenly divisible by 100. So we need to check for that first and say if the year is evenly divisible by 100, and so I heard this early return thing's actually not as common, but it is in Go. Do you know Rust mod doesn't work with negative int? Yes, Frank, I am attempting to learn Rust. Why do some people have a client nonce and some don't? I am actually not sure. I'm not that familiar with the client chat API. This is some debug code for the bot that we have running. Okay, so this is accept. So, all right, so that's false. I suppose we could return back here. All right, let's think about this. So we know it's evenly divisible by 100. So if we return whether or not the year is evenly divisible by 400, that should get us what we want. And then finally we just look for divisible by 4. Look at that. We passed. All right. Exorcism, submit, source librs. Next. Yeah, Aaron, you haven't been back since I decided to abandon my VS Code mission and just go back to NeoVim. All right, what's our next exercise? Does this track? Okay. Okay, so for these ones, we can request mentoring. Okay. So do we want to request mentoring? The raindrops one is really good. All right, let's do it. Tease. You're in here promoting your paid product. I mean, not cool. I'll send you a bill. I'll send you a bill. Okay, raindrops. Your task is to convert a number into a string that contains raindrop sounds corresponding to certain potential factors. A factor is a number that evenly divides into another number, leaving no remainder. The simplest way to test if a one number is a factor of another is to use the modulo operation. The rules of raindrops are that if a given number has a 3 as a factor, add pling. This is like FizzBuzz. Tej only follows people using NeoVim. That's why he wasn't following until today. That makes total sense, Tej. I'll forgive you because I was using VS Code until, I don't know, a week or two ago. So that's it. You're only allowed to follow people who use NeoVim. Okay, so this is like FizzBuzz. Does that mean we have to follow Begin's rule about we have to implement it in like the craziest way possible? I wish I still had the link to that solution he sent me. That was just, oh wait, we need to download our exercise. I'm gonna bump up my chat font size here. I first learned about Vim and Emacs from the Productive Programmer book. The way I did that exercise is pretty crazy. Lord, if you have a link, I would love to see it. Well, we'll solve it first. I don't want to cheat. No spoilers. Raindrops. I keep forgetting that it's always like lib rs that is. All right. What do we got going for tests? Test 1 failed. All right. Okay, it panicked because we're not implemented. So let's copy over all of our rules here. We're just going to paste these in here. And we'll copy over our examples too. All right, that's your solution. Oh, you did it in Haskell? All right, I'm going to open this in a new tab. I'm not going to look at it, but I'm going to leave it there just so that we can pull it up afterwards and we can kind of compare. All right, so the rules are we're going to take in, the n, if it has 3 as a factor, add pling to the result. So we're going to need a string here. So let's let res. And so here's some of the stuff that I don't know what the idiomatic way to do is, because we could declare it this way. We could say let res string equals, right? Nope, I guess we would have to do a toString on that, right? Is this the more idiomatic way of doing this? String from is the more idiomatic way? Okay. String new is better. We have competing opinions. I feel like if it's an empty string, new would make more sense, wouldn't it? All right, and so it wants us to return a string unused variable. All right, so here we need to say if n modulo 3 equals 0, then we're going to res.push, and that's a character string. So it seems to me that we want to push string, and this would be pling. Can't borrow as mutable as it is not declared as mutable. All right. One failed, 18 ignored. What's this test? One left one. Let's look at the test suite. Okay, we're missing a requirement then. Okay, so the final thing should just be... So would this just be a format n? Okay, so now we can do this ignored. Is that an Azure shirt? It is an Azure shirt, and it's like one of my favorite ones. The IC Dev people is freaking hilarious. I wear lots of shirts, so I end up wearing, like, inadvertently advertising for people that I've got like cool, comfortable shirts at conferences. I used to do a lot of public speaking and traveling, so I have a lot of clothes that were like from sponsors at conferences. Okay, so now we have all of these tests. Let's start looking at them. All right, so it has 3 as a factor, add pling. We've got that. And it seems to me that a larger number could be evenly divisible by multiples of these. So we can say 5, we want plang. And if it's evenly divisible by 7, then we want plong. Let's see. Okay, so we've got a couple of solutions. All right, so we'll complete our solution, and then I will pull up the 2 solutions that have been dropped in chat, and we'll compare. I know my string doesn't put the 3 strings into the heap. Instead, it only uses reference, which is more efficient. I could get away with using cow, but it would be less efficient on memory. Okay, so we're talking about more efficient ways of doing this. Yeah, Aaron, I did too. I stopped grabbing any swag from booths. It acquires and fills landfills, and apparently I have no control over my... Oh, there we go. No. Pretzel rocks over here. Okay. Let's see. What do we got? 3 passed, 15 failed. So we're doing something wrong. Wait a second. So 6. Thank you for the follow, Pocket KK. So let's look at just one of these. This is test 6 standard out.
Someone finds you interesting,
Test
sir.
6.
It appears we have a new follower.
Okay, so it's expecting pling, but we gave it 6. Why is that? Because it's evenly divisible. Wait a second. So we're missing some stuff. So 28 has 7 as a factor, but not 3 or 5, so the result would be plong. 30 has both 3 and 5 as factors, but not 7, so the result would be pling plang. 34 is not factored by 3, 5, or 7, so the result would be 34. Does not have any of 3. So Then why is 6? Because 6 does have 3 as a factor. So it should be playing. Oh no, that's what they're saying, that it should be playing, but we returned 6. Why did we return 6? Oh, that's because here. We're not returning back push strings, so we need to decide. Let's set, I guess maybe like a has factor. Bool. And then I guess we could do like a if has factor. I feel like we could clean this up. So we'll solve it first and then we'll see how we can refactor it. So if it has a factor, we want to return result. Else. Right? I guess we don't really need an else there. No, we're still not returning the right number. Oh, duh. I feel like this is slightly duplicate code. Cannot assign twice. Oh. I always forget to do this with... Oh. And naming conventions. All right. Wait a second. So that works. Don't forget, wait. Shout out to Mesosphere. Alright, the problem with your solution is probably that it doesn't work if the input has multiple digits. I think I just sorted out why my RDS was being slow. Stop using mutating variables. Rockerboo, are you trying to get me to do it in like a more functional way? Oh, I should be able to do a rename too. I haven't worked with that yet. Yeah, I typically do that. I was just thinking I only had like one place to change it, but yeah, I could totally do substitution. Okay, so this works. Let's take a look at... I am using the built-in LSP. So I'm running NeoVim nightly from a couple nights ago, and the built-in LSP. Although I had a weird issue over the weekend when I was running it where Rust Analyzer wasn't working, and I ended up updating my version of the NeoVim nightly, and it worked. Okay, let's look at Lord NZTE solution. So we got N. Because we're going to mutate N? Interesting. Okay, so S, I'm guessing that's our output. So while N is greater than 0, let A equal... What does this return? What is this syntax, Lord? These comma separated values here, inside of here. Oh, it's a tuple. Like, I'm looking at the multi-line thing. It's throwing me off. Okay, so we have a tuple. And push string match A. True, borrowed. N is greater than... What's this loop for? So we push... I understand this, so we're going to push on here based on which one of these is true. An own version of N. Too pale. Oh, it's for multiple. But is that the requirement? I don't think the requirement is for individual digits though, right? Because inside the problem here, it says 28 has a 7 as a factor, but not 3 or 5. So they're referring to the whole number 28 and not the individual pieces. Percent %S doesn't do multiple files. Okay, let's see. What was our next solution? Okay, so we're matching on these individual conditions. Okay, so this one looks like it's just explicitly spitting out what all of the possible values are. Okay. Let's submit our solution. And I mean, I don't know whether we should have like a mentor look at this one, but we could. I'm actually, how does it know which exercise I'm submitting? Vim LSP buff rename. Okay, let's see. Next, did anybody else have any other recommendations for... Are we, I guess we just did them in order anyway. Nth prime, // All right, let's check our tests. Well, what's our requirements? All right, given a number n, determine what the nth prime is. Thanks for the follow, Lord MZTE. So by listing the first 6 prime numbers, 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, and 13, we can see that the 6th prime is 13. Generally, when I rename stuff, it's local variables within a file, or rather more common. Okay, so if your language provides methods in the standard library to deal with prime numbers, pretend they don't exist and implement them yourselves. Remember that while people commonly count the 1-based indexing, i.e. the 6th prime is 13, many programming languages, including Rust, use 0-based indexing. Prime 5 equals 13. Use 0-based indexing for your implementation. Okay. Okay. This is going to be one of those like quizzes based on math, which I am not the greatest at, where there's going to be some mathematical formula that makes this easy. Okay, so this is just telling us all but our first test will pass. Given a number n, determine what the nth prime is. Okay. So, oh, we already did this. Nth. All right, how do we want to do this? Thoughts. So we could, the brute force way would be to iterate over all numbers and determine whether or not they are prime. This would be option 1. Option 2 is we could create a map, or we could create a collection, hold a collection of known primes. This one is sketchy because you could pick an outside the collection. And 3, maths that Eric is unaware of. Okay, so sometimes I have generics and stuff, so having LSP figure out some of the linking could be helpful. All right, so I'm going to go with number 1, unless any of you were like math majors and can tell me a better way of doing this. But as far as I'm aware, prime numbers have to be brute forced. So we're going to do a loop, and we're going to say for I in, it would be what? Starting with 1 through n. No, it's the nth prime. Ooh. So do we just loop forever here? I guess we would need like a let I and do, I don't know, a U64, because I don't know how big that number is going to be, and start with 0. And we need let n. I don't think we really need a big number here. We'll go with a 16, I don't know. Okay, so while n is less than, or no, while I is less than n, we want to check if prime increment I, right? No, increment n. And n we're already using. We need prime. Does that make sense so far? I think so. So in this case, we also need to make sure that we increment I to track what number we're on. Does I++ work? No. Do we have to do an I plus equals? And this is going to have to be mutable. And this is going to have to be mutable. What am I missing here? Expected one of. Thanks for the follow, Bro Mythical. Are we all learning more Neovim in the chat that I'm missing out here? Is that what's happening?
Someone finds you interesting, sir. It appears we have a new follower.
Okay, so what am I missing here? LSP, what are you yelling at me for? This should be valid, right? Why is this not valid? How to change colors for what? Oh, the lights? Yeah, so there's a hue command, and that accepts a value from 0 to 65,000. Or there's a couple of hard-coded colors we've put in there that if you pick a color and you name it, just tell me the color, the number, and whatever color you want to call it. We could create a color called Teach. I don't know. And then you can also do like an alert, which will blink them one time. And then you can do an alarm, which will blink it for like 5 seconds or 15 seconds. And then if you really want to get obnoxious, there is a strobe that blinks these bright lights on me. Okay, so we're incrementing here, and we need to just check if it's prime. So if I is evenly divisible by We need to check. Evenly divisible by 1 or itself only. Line 2 is missing. Oh, the unimplemented. You're right, you're right. Yeah, Rust is usually pretty good at the error. Okay, so how do we want to check this? You're keen to break the bot? It probably would be pretty easy. We did rush through building it. We were very much optimizing for features and not necessarily production use. So if you kill the bot, it's actually more entertaining that way. And then we have to drop what we're doing and we have to go and fix it. There used to be an effect on my voice that you could do too, but that was only working in Windows. The bot is written in Go, and we can find it here. There we go. There's the source code if you want to go find a glaring hole in it. So I tried to write it in like a modular way that people could reuse it. So we need to check this. So the first thing is we need to check if evenly divisible by 2. So if I divisible by 2, then it's not prime. It's funny how these things that conceptually where you're like, oh yeah, just check if it's prime, and then you have to try to think about how to code this. All right, so if it's evenly divisible by 2, then it is not a prime. So we need to ensure we increment this. So if it's not evenly divisible by 2, then we are a prime, and we prime plus equals 1, right? Well, I haven't done like little funny brain teaser things like this. Do I have a bug bounty program for the bot? I do not. The bug bounty program is if you find a bug with the bot, you get all of the glory of fixing it.
This yak is as smooth and pink as it's going to get, sir. Shall we move on?
So that is my Jarvis, who loves to taunt me. I need to do some more. Okay, so just trying to think about this for a second. All right. So if it's evenly divisible by 2, then we know that it's not or if it's not.
Remind the viewers again, sir. How many years have you dedicated to achieve this level of mastery?
Too many. Too many years. Mr. Halsey, thanks for the raid.
Catastrophic failure detected. Evacuation protocol has been initiated. Abandoned ship. SOS.
Wait.
Abandoned ship.
Who didn't get the raid one?
Someone finds you interesting, sir. It appears we have a new follower.
Okay.
Intruder alert. An unauthorized connection has been detected.
All right. So no, this isn't gonna work because it could be evenly divisible by something else. So we need to check what? 3, 5, 7. We need to check for 2, 3, 5, 7. I guess. Oh, we want to start there anyway. Okay, so we can pre-increment here, and that would work fine, and that would give us the ability to. If it is evenly divisible by 2, then we would continue, right? I feel like this is not idiomatic Rust, though. I feel like there's some sort of
Sir,
match
if I may be
statement
so
here.
bold as to speak for the viewers, you clearly seem to be enjoying yourself, but we haven't
Thanks for the
thought all
follow,
day.
Mr. Halsey. It is 1 prime. Well, so the rules for a prime are that it has to be only evenly divisible by itself and 1. So we shouldn't have to check that. In theory, 1 should. So the first iteration, we're starting at 0. This is 1, which is fine, because we're not going to check 0. So in the case of 1, if it's evenly divisible by 2, then we know it's not a prime. We continue. So then we would do the same thing. We would check for if it's evenly divisible by 3. If it is, we continue. Then we want, what, 5? Seven and 9. Am I thinking about this correctly? So if it's evenly divisible by any of these, oops, 3, 5. I feel like this is like super verbose, and there's probably a better way to do this, but we're just sort of trying to solve the problem
This yak is
first.
as smooth and pink as it's going to get, sir.
And
Shall
then
we move on?
If we reach here, then we've found a prime. Right? So if we found a prime, then we want to increment prime. And then we're going to check if... Why is mine... So if prime equals n, we've found our nth prime, and then we should be able to return prime. No. I. Uh-oh. What do we... Oh, we missed a semicolon here. We've got a bunch of mismatched types here. Let's see, what do we want to do here? I mean, prime, that one's easier to do. I mean, we could change them all to U32s for simplicity's sake, and then we don't have to worry about that. Mismatch type expected U32 found. Am I missing something here? Am I mixing up Go? Mismatch type expected U32 found. What on earth are we talking about? You probably want a recursive reducer. So GZB, what we're currently working on is, so I'll show you the end goal here. So I'm going to be working on a project that leverages GStreamer, and it's going to basically be like an RTMP switcher, so we can have multiple RTMP streams. We'll spin up endpoints for each streamer, and then there'll be like a production switcher where you can see previews of all of those individual people, and then you can switch the live feed, say like it's Twitch. You can say send streamer 1 to this Twitch channel and alternate between them. And so this is all written in like C and C++, and I'd prefer not to do that. I'm not the best C or C++ programmer either. It's been a number of years. So if I have to brush up on anything, why not brush up on the thing everybody's learning in place of that? And GStreamer has really, really great Rust bindings. So what we are doing now is I'm attempting to go through some Exorcism IO challenges in order to help pick up Rust better. It turns out I don't know it nearly as well as I thought I did, and I didn't think I knew it very well, so that's makes it even more shameful. we're trying to check if it's prime without brute forcing it, i.e. just divide by everything from 2 to n1. Yeah, I could use an or 2, right? But that would also get pretty big. The other way, right, because like this is, we're just like brute forcing how we solve it first and then trying to look at like what would be a more idiomatic way of solving this in Rust. And I find sometimes solving problems this way where maybe it's like a lot more verbose, the solution. I tend to start that way because it's easier to reason about, and then I can start looking at how I can kind of trim that down. So this should get us what we want, aside from what is this mismatch types? Expected I should be a U32, and N should also be a U32. So do I just have my syntax wrong for the while loop? So it looks like that should be right. Well, this doesn't exist there, but it was complaining before then. Shashak, use match. I'm not sure what you mean by use match here. I mean, we could do like a giant match statement, right? Where we're doing I. And remember, I am very new to Rust, so teach me the way if you know the way. So, is this sort of what you're thinking? It would just be like this giant match statement. Is a unit type, right? But where's the unit type coming from? Might prefer learning with PingCap talent plan. Let's look. Talent Plan is an open source training program initiated by PingCap. It aims to combine some open source learning material for people interested in open source distributed systems, Rust, Golang, and infrastructure knowledges. As such, a series of courses is focused on open source. How to use Git and GitHub, practical networked applications in Rust, a series of projects that incrementally develop a single Rust project from the ground up into a high-performance, networked, parallel, and asynchronous key value store. Along the way, the real-world and practical Rust development subject matter are explored and discussed. And distributed systems in Rust. All right, let's take a vote. I am happy to pivot, and we can try and go through this series instead. Let's. Am I ready for what? Building this stuff in Rust? I mean, potentially. We'll figure it out. I mean, there was like nothing in Go when I tried to learn that, so we'll figure it out along the way. I'd love to see whoever was suggesting match, what they think the best solution here would be. Like, I'm familiar with using match on things, you know, like an option or something, right? But I haven't seen like larger use cases of it to avoid the if things. I have heard in Rust though that like if conditions are not as popular. Let's take a look at this really quick and see what happens in here. Okay, goal of the course, who's this for? Yeah, Aaron, that's the thing for me is I haven't seen it a lot, but I'm trying to understand what the idioms in place of that are and understand kind of how to use them and when to use them. Maybe they meant using guard clauses. Let's open this up. Match guard can be added to filter the arm. Yeah, so I mean, I guess you would end up using this as like sort of a giant if else almost. So let's see what that might look like. So we'd be matching on I, right? And then we would be saying something like we would just be saying I here. Because we would need to check it here. So we would be saying I evenly divisible by 2. Right? Something like this. Is this what we're talking about? Wait, 2, 3, 5, 7, 9. Unexpected comma? I thought there was commas there. Oh, it's we gotta put the if. Now it's gonna yell at me that it needs the unnecessary parentheses around pattern. Okay. So we only need to do this if we're actually like destructuring something. Thank you for the follow, XCW. Okay. So is this what you're thinking? I mean, I guess this does really condense that down. Unreachable statement, and that's because we want to do absolutely nothing. Right?
Someone finds you interesting, sir. It appears we have a new follower.
Oh, I haven't updated the project thing. Well, that's why they had an example. Your Switcher project should have been really good for events like SGDQ that had to go online this year. Yeah, so that's really the the plan for that. Thanks for the follow, Pew WTD. Yeah, so that's the plan. There's a lot of conferences and things like that going online, and there's lots of ways of getting your content online and doing Twitch or YouTube Live or Facebook Live or a variety of the other services. But the thing that I've noticed is, so I organize GopherCon, and we're trying to go online. And one of the things that's like really annoying with these is these companies charge ridiculous amounts of money, you know, $10,000, $20,000 to host your event online, and it's just unnecessary. And they're not really giving you anything that you couldn't do for yourself using like Nginx with the RTMP module and stuff like that. So, but even once you get outside of that, there's not really a way to, you know, like transition to the host or MC and let them introduce the speaker and then transition to there's like these weird workflows people are kind of like jamming together using like Skype and Zoom and stuff. And I'm just not a big fan. So that's sort of the goal behind the project, is to have this sort of thing. It's going to be completely open source. I'm just trying to get up to speed a bit more on Rust right now, and then we will be building it completely live on stream. You are welcome to send PRs. We'll look at the PRs on stream. All that good stuff. Okay, I think you can use pipes if you want to make it only have one continue. Ooh. What does that look like, Peyton? I am learning new things. So, but well, those pipes though, that's just if that number is the same thing, or can we use the pipe? Can we use the pipe as part of the condition? Match a single value. Okay, so this is matching. any one of these values, which isn't really what we're looking for, right? We're looking for whether or not it has specific factors. Oh, right. So I need to do something with what it returns. Well, it's not going to return here. So I don't know what we do here because we need to catch the default case, right? Does it matter? Mismatch type found U32. So we still have this issue here. And this is an unreachable statement. Why is it an unreachable statement? Did you look at the Rustlings course? Is Exorcism.io better for people who already have web dev experience? So we actually did the Rustlings course on Saturday. I went through all of the exercises on Rustlings. And so this is like now, rather than like fixing these broken code, we're actually trying to solve problems. And this is kind of fun because I get to look at like the multiple ways of implementing things in a language that I've never seen before. It's also somewhat embarrassing because typically I'm working in languages that I'm ridiculously like productive in. And now I'm like, how do you do an if statement and loop? I can catch it with I. Just saying do this, Rockerboo? Okay. So then, but we still have this issue with the U32 and found. I don't understand why those are mismatched types. Anybody have any thoughts into why this is the case? Like, I'm not really sure. Yeah, so it doesn't really matter what that value is. Am I just picking the wrong loop here? Programming 101 with Eric.dev. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Now I'm like, what did I get caught doing? Now I'm like, how do you do an if statement and loop? Now I'm like, I forget that you can clip everything and it lives for eternity. Okay, so I feel like maybe I just don't have a handle on which loop I'm using. Is a for loop better to use here? Does the while loop only check? While loops are the correct choice when you are not sure how many times you need to loop. If you need an infinite loop, you may be tempted to write this. However, it has a dedicated thing, but we're not writing an infinite loop. We know the max number of iterations that we want to. Is the mismatch type actually for the function itself and not the particular line? That is a good thought. Is this an LSP issue? Like, is that returning the value? Interesting. Okay. Because now we need to return back. So we could say let mute result U32 equal 0, I guess. I need like automatic Rust format. So then in theory here, we would be saying return result, right? Is this what you're saying? And then we would just say result equals I. Look at that. Nightshade dude, you called it. So Is the while loop an expression as well? Does it return a value? Why did that happen? So I guess the while loop was the last expression of the function, and that's why it complained that the last expression did not return a value that was compatible with the return value of the function. Yeah, so that's what it seems like. Uh-oh. The Primogens here. Welcome, 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 welcome. So I am sitting here failing miserably at Rust. We are attempting to learn kind of what idiomatic Rust looks like. And that was just a weird thing. So, okay. I say we roll with this. Do we want to submit this as our solution? Do you do a lot of Rust, Prime? Could you get cleaner and have a for loop in a for loop and have your divisibles in an array? I mean, would that be more efficient though to keep iterating over those rather than having those? We sort of have like this static list. You do not Rust. Okay, me either. I am typically a Go person, so we've been doing a lot of Go on the stream, and I'm pretty productive there, and now I'm just flailing around miserably. All right, I'm going to submit this one, and we'll move on to the next exercise and see what kind of trouble we get into. Source librs. I just noticed, Dr. Dumenberg, it's still pink. Every time he comes in here, I'm pink. Also, return res can be replaced by res. Yeah, so this is a habit I'm trying to get out of from the Go world. Inside of Go, you typically see early returns a lot. So you sort of see these conditions happen and then return, condition, return. So the happy path sort of follows this top level of indentation. And I'm trying desperately to break that habit because I know in Rust that's not the case. Same thing with the explicit use of the word return in these. Okay, so we submitted that one. Whoa, we got a lot of tabs here. Lots of tabs. I want to leave this open because that looks like a cool project too. So Prime, the thing I'm ultimately trying to get to is I'm building an RTMP switcher using Rust and GStreamer, and that's why I'm trying to catch up on Rust. I want to be able to switch back and forth between RTMP feeds coming in, multiple RTMP inputs out to a single RTMP output. Implicit returns, my least favorite thing almost. Next to Go's no function overloading. Yeah, Go's lack of generics is troublesome too. So we are on Exercism.io. So this has stuff for many, many languages, and you can do a self-paced thing where you pick your track. So we can come out here to the language tracks. So I want to do the x86-64 assembly one too. It has a number of exercises in there. You kind of have like these side quests that you can do, and you can do self-paced where you can just submit it and manually move on, or like my reverse string example, we can see in my comments here that my solution was submitted and a mentor reviewed it and liked the solution, but offered an additional thing that I might want to look into. So I submitted another solution to this. And so I think it's really, really cool, especially with the mentor approach, because you get somebody who develops in this language regularly, who's pointing you to things. And we sort of talked about this when I first started to stream, is that I find syntax of languages are much easier to learn than learning what the common idioms are, the things in the standard library you should be aware of, and what the common packages that everybody uses for specific things are. I feel like that's the thing that takes the longest. How much money do I need to pay for Exercism? It is completely free. And you can also volunteer to be a mentor. So if you want to pay in some way, I would definitely recommend joining as a mentor for languages that you are proficient in. Beer song. I like it already. All right. Recite the lyrics to the beloved classic, that field trip favorite, 99 bottles of beer on the wall. Can we make ours 99 bugs on the wall? Do they have something like this for Python? Let's look. They have a bunch of, I'm pretty sure they have Python. So we've got Bash, C, C Sharp, Clojure, CFML, C++, ClojureScript, CoffeeScript, Common Lisp, Dart, D, Crystal, Delphi, Elixir, Elm, Emacs, Erlang, F Sharp, Go, Groovy, Haskell, Java, JavaScript, Julia, Kotlin. There's a lot of stuff in here. Nim, MIPS assembly, Prolog. There you go. Here's Python. What's Raku and Racket? I am not familiar with these. And there's Vim script. Wait, is there Lua? Where's Lua? Lua's in here too. Okay, perfect. We got you covered, Tej. Yeah, Nim is a really cool language too. I haven't messed with it in a while, but I like playing with all of those like Nim and Pony and things like that. Okay, so note that all verses are identical. Okay. Prime should be a JS mentor. I'm sure that they will take all of the help they can get. I think Rust has, I don't even know, like maybe like 6 mentors or something like that. They could definitely use more mentors. Okay, so wait, what are we supposed to be doing here? It mentioned what it is. Oh, we need to recite the lyrics. Oh, this one's pretty straightforward, right? So we need a loop. Let's download the challenge real quick. All right, beer song. Here we come. Okay. Verse, sing. Emit verse, sing. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is implement this. You thought Nim was a joke on NeoVim? No, Nim is a language. Yeah, you should look at Nim. Okay, so our verse is going to be... We're just going to copy this. Oops. Apparently I can't use a mouse or a keyboard. Okay, so we're going to have placeholders here, right? And can we do multi-line strings? Is that going to let us do it? No. I'm sure there's a way to do this. I'm just not sure what that is. So I think it wanted it on a new line though. This line length is killing me. All right, so what was the number passed in? N. And so it would be N. And again, an N minus 1. And LSB is yelling at me. Expected semicolon. Oh, because unimplemented. Okay. 80 columns for life, exactly. If anybody knows how for me to split this onto this string onto multiple lines, I will be forever in your debt, because this is going to drive me nuts. You see this? You see this bar right here? It should never cross this. Okay. So now we need to sing. So we're going to, I guess this would be a 4 I in, and we'll do a range from start to end. And I think we have to do n plus 1, right? Oh, wait. Which direction are we going in? Let's look at... We're going to go down. Because I think this is not inclusive, so we'll have to look at what we get here. We might have some failing tests. So then we should be able to just call print line verse I. Oh, no, we need to return it. So we need to do a let song string new. Not inclusive. Exactly. Somebody really needs to have a DNI talk with Rust here. Will start ... equal end work? Does equal tell it to be inclusive? I think this is the same issue we had, just the weird LSP thing. So what we really need to do is we want to do a song.push string, and then we're going to pass it verse. And then we're going to return song. I almost did it. I almost typed return. I think you have chosen your path. Our 500 columns changed your mind. Changed my mind. You are not. I think you just lost mod status, Aaron. All right. Remember, you all can signal me here. If I do something dumb like type the word return, just like strobe my lights at me or something. Okay. So this is a standard string. So we need to convert this to str, right? No method to str. What am I missing? Found for item function u32 string. Oh, duh. Verse I dot to str, right? Is it into? What is the method here? There is a method to convert string to as. I always freaking forget that. As str. Because 2 is going to create a new one. This is just, all right. Cannot borrow song as mutable because we did not declare it as mutable. Okay. And we have a failing test. Let's check it out. Test verse 0. No more bottles of beer on the wall. No more bottles of beer. Okay, so we did not account for a case. So here we need to check if n is 0. All right, and then it looks like we need to also add a new line here. Okay. What did I mess up now? What are you complaining about? Oh, this is not. Mismatched types expected. So the LSP, Tej, are you still here? How do we solve for this? Like, it gets, you can't even get to the LSP error. It's my code? No, so I know it's an error for the code. My question is when the line becomes so long that we actually can't see the LSP error. Oh, so I just need to put something in my status line. I want to know what this mismatch type is. What does format return? Well, this isn't returning. Did that work? All right, we have passing tests. Five ignored. So we're gonna test the ignored tests here. And we're failing. Why are we failing? All right. Left. Let's look at test 3. Wasn't that the one we were just looking at? Test first. Well, let's fix this one. Okay, so there's no space there, so that's one of our issues. Or is it the other way around? Oh, we have pluralization. They're just screwing with us now. Okay. Thanks for the follow, Esrid. All right, so we're going to just cheat.
Someone finds you interesting, sir. It appears we have a new follower.
Dr. Doomenberg's taking over your role. Rocker Boo, you're slipping. You're slipping. All right, if n equals 1, then we're just going to, oops. We don't even need this. GNUCC, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for the raid. All right, we've got one bottle of beer. I guess we could just do this, right? Substitute bottles with bottle. All right. Oh, because we don't need all of this. Oh, is this going to yell at me? 2 positional. Oh, because we still have our positional elements here. I thought I changed these. Change the ifs into match to be more idiomatic. Again, okay. Thanks for the follow, TSGD. So I keep naturally wanting to use if statements. So yeah, so let's match on n. And then this is an expression. So what it returns. Okay, yeah, okay. So we're going to say if I guess that would just be what, 0? If it's 0, then we've got this case. And then if it's 1, it's this case. Otherwise, we want I have to remember to start using match more. And this looks so much cleaner too. So much cleaner. And add slash to do multiple lines to strings. Oh, so if I did like this. I'm guessing that's going to add an extra character there. So we're going to go with this. Does that work? Okay. What is the syntax for multiple string literal? Okay. So we have one passing test and a whole bunch of failing ones. So let's figure out what's going on with our failing ones. Thanks for the follow, Jason. All right, so left empty string. And ooh, what is this? 3 bottles of beer. Well, 3 bottles of beer. Take them down.
Someone finds you interesting,
let's-
sir. It appears we have a new follower.
Let's look at test song. Which one was it that we were looking at? Was it 2? We'll just pick one. Test song 3. So this is... Okay, so is... No, because it's asserting ours is on the left. So from 3 to 0, we executed 0 times because it ended up being an empty... People calling me while I'm trying to watch Twitch, rude. It is too. I mean, people just don't have their priorities straight these days. I mean, work and stuff. Aaron bailed on my stream one day to work. I mean, what kind of crap is that? Okay, so our issue is this loop isn't doing what we think it is, because our output here, at least in the case of test song 8, we are returning back an empty string instead of what we're supposed to. So why are we returning back an empty string? He's trying to compete with my stream too? What the crap? Yeah, I think we overlap for a little bit on Mondays. It's cool. It's cool. I forgive him. Okay, so we got to figure out why we're not looping here. And how do I run an individual test in Rust? I'll go run single test. Thanks for the... I can't speak. Thanks for the follow, Nyan. Controlling how tests are run. How do we run a single test? Okay, here we go. Test minus
Someone
1
finds you
equals
interesting,
1.
sir. It appears we have a new follower.
Is that how we do this? So do we just copy this and say cargo test, the name of the test, test underscore verse 2? Is that how this works? Equals 1? No. What did I miss there? Oh no, that's the number of threads. That's not a single test thing. We got ahead of ourselves. It's like building IKEA furniture and skipping the directions. Okay, it's just the name of the test. Okay. So cargo test verse 2. All right. We need to do ignored too. Okay, so we got data here. 2 bottles of beer on the wall. 2 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. Oh, so it bit us again. Thanks for the follow, Russ Jr. So it bit us again.
Someone finds you interesting,
with
sir. It appears we have a new follower.
we need to change this because we're accounting for this individual message here when we have 1, but we're not accounting for this. So there's 2 ways we could do this, right? So one is that we could also replace this with a placeholder and decide whether or not n and n minus 1 is the bottles of beer. What plugin is making my top bar? So that is Airline. So if you go to GitHub, vim-airline/vim-airline, and then there's some themes and stuff like that. That's where that's all coming from. So this may be the case we should use. Is there a ternary operator in Rust? So if I said, like let pluralized equal n equal to 1. Can I say this? Bottle else bottles. Does that work? No. Smarter tab line. Let G airline extensions tab line enabled. All right, let's do it. Are you gonna make Vim crash on me, Rocker Boo? Oh, sweet. All right, perfect. I need to remember to do that. Let's see. Let me just go ahead and update my config here. Just go ahead and drop that in there. Thanks for the follow, Ziggy. Okay, where'd we leave off? The fact that this problem was supposed to be easy until they started tricking us with this pluralized stuff. So it looks like there's not a ternary operator, at least not in the traditional way people use. Okay, we've got Rust needs the ternary conditional operator. Thanks for the follow, JT. Okay, so we can't do that. So do we end up having to just do a match statement? I guess that would be the appropriate way here, right? Say match on n, and if n is 1, then we're gonna say bottle, and then otherwise we're gonna say bottles. I'm guessing this is the so being we only have to worry about this one, I guess we can use n minus 1 here. N. And then we just need to add pluralized here. All right, we passed. Now let's just run all of them and see whether we fixed it or what else I was too dumb to notice. Let pluralized equal if x equals 1, string from bottle else string from bottles would also work. Yeah, so match is similar to a switch case, except it can like return a value, and then there's like these guards where we can add conditional statements here. So we could actually put n here and then say if n is, you know, evenly divisible by 2 or whatnot. I need to get out of the habit of using if statements though. Unusable variable n. Oh, wait. Or unused, rather. So that should work. What else are we failing on? Okay, so for test song 3, 8, 6, and verse 1, we're failing. Ah. They burn us again with the pluralization. It's take it down. Take it down. So this one is supposed to be take it down. But that also means that we would need to also do this, but then we need another one. All right, let's call this plural bottle. I feel like there's probably a different way. If there's one, one, plural, count. I don't know. We'll just call it it. All right, let's make sure we get this. It is going to be position number 2. And this would be plural it. And then this is going to end up being plural bottle. That'll solve that one. Ooh, did we break? We broke more cases. This is always funny, like when you like, All right, so I feel like there's a different way to do this. We're adding one too many checks here for this to be the right solution. So when we get down to 0, it should be no more bottles. 1 bottle. Let's think about this for a second. So quantity. So maybe the idea here, so instead of filtering out before a switch, you just do it with the math. Yeah, so here's my new thought. What if it was just, if we did a let current count, current quantity, right, equal something. We're just gonna like to do this really quick. All right, so we have our current quantity, let new quantity, right? And then we could replace this with all of our one bottle, right? Or, you know, 5 bottles, or no more bottles. And then that would just have us give us these 2 match cases, and then we could just fill in the quantities. And really, or expand the match statements. What are you thinking, Rocker Boo? Thanks for the follow, 3LP. Let's try this really quick. All right, so let current quantity equal match n. And I mean, I suppose we could create another function here if we wanted to get the quantity. So you say one bottle. If it's 0, we're going to say no more bottles, right? And then in this case, we're going to say n, and we're going to need to format this. Oops. Match arms have incompatible types and wait a second. What am I missing? Oh, this returns a string, so we need to do as str. There we go. All right. Why did you not go away? I think Rust Analyzer might have crashed on me. I've been having the worst luck with this. Are we gonna have to kill it? I think we have to kill NeoVim. Blame it on Tej. It's all your fault, man. That's the problem with going bleeding edge. You go bleeding edge, you get cut. Okay, so we have this. So we should be able to copy this and use this for new quantity. What's epic? Okay, so now we have these sort of quantities here. So in theory, we should be able to... This one should be fine because 0 is always going to be the case. 1's always going to be the case. This is really the one that messes with us. So we're going to remove this here. And we're going to remove that there. Take one down and pass. Oh, we still needed that it. We still need plural it. Alright, so this is now becoming part of that. That's part of that. Pass it around. Okay. And can we split this on new lines? All right, so N is the number of beers on the wall. Take it down and wait. Right. Okay. Okay. I think we got this. I think we got this. All right. So take N down and pass plural it. We'll put here. Take it or 1 down and pass. We need the same thing again. Plural it. And then we need new quantity. Oh wait, no, we need this to be current quantity. Current quantity. It's funny. Like these things I find really amusing when you take like what is like a very kind of simple task conceptually, and then you sort of like fumble around on it for a little bit. You're like, this should not be this challenging. Okay. And so that's a new quantity, right? And this should be new quantity, right? Does that make sense? Current quantity of beer on the wall. We need current quantity twice. Yeah, so we need current quantity twice. Current quantity of beer on the wall, current quantity of beer. Take plural it down and pass plural it around. New quantity of beer on the wall. Okay, so this one is the one we don't need. Thanks for the follow, Azurthab. All right. Ooh. What do we break? Temporary value is freed at the end of this statement. It's a temporary. Oh, right. Wait. But that should be okay, right? Because it should return that. Or do we need to do like a to owned on it? Is that what we're missing? Looks like a good time to use cow. What do you mean? Alright, consider using a let binding to create a longer lived value. Oh, so this is up at our quantity issues, not at our. Now, why is this little help popping up for? What is going on with this thing not going away? What is your deal? Looks like a good time to use cow. Standard borrow, copy on write. Indexing 201 for string formatting. Well, so I'm trying to kind of understand conceptually what this is, because in theory, match is an expression, so it should return back a value, right? Which would be assigned to here, which is within the lifetime. So if I return back own versions of him, right? Why does that not work? And it's only on the format. It's only the format one that's yelling at us. Oh, is it because we're getting back? Well, that's not helpful. So this should give me back string from X. So string is actually hard-coded into the binary. String from X is actually what you want. Well, so the error isn't on these ones, right? The issue is on the format. The format version of it is telling us that there's a temporary value that is freed at the end of the statement. And we don't want to do like an assignment inside of a match arm, if that's my understanding. We wouldn't want to do like a current quantity equals, right? I suppose we could do that in a block, right? Like this. Something like this. Oh no, because it wants us to return a value as part of the match arm. Yeah, so that's I think where I'm missing something is how this match arm stuff is working. I do understand that the match is an expression that returns a value, which is why we were trying to do it to begin with. So I think what I'm not understanding here is what this format macro is actually doing. And this is going to give us can we do like a 2 owned on this as str? Temporary value drop while borrowed, consider using a let. So I still don't understand exactly what the issue is here. Does that have something to do with this n? Is that our issue? No. Okay, so it doesn't have anything to do with that. So we rule that out. Right, format return string, which is why we're doing it as str. Let format? Does that work? Yeah, so it would have to be an assignment. So we could do something like this. Thanks for the follow, Laws Code. Yeah, so this is sort of the frustrating thing with like trying to understand a new language. And for me, like, I actually, like, some of this drives me nuts just because it's you're like, but I could do this so quickly in the language I know. And yeah, and also, you know, I'm flailing around doing something frustrating in front of, you know, just, I don't even know what the count is here. 50 plus of my closest friends. So let's see here. Somebody just said to look at their solution to the other problem. Do I still have the link up there? Count is local scoped in the branch. Right, so we're not doing anything with it. I just wanted to check here because this was yelling at us about it not existing afterwards. So if this like temporary value dropped while borrowed, consider using let binding. And so it has something to do with the macro format.
Someone finds you interesting, sir. It appears we have a new follower.
So it could always change the other two string from and remove as. That's a good idea. Let's try that. So if we did here, string from. Okay. So this looks like what we want then. I'm not entirely sure what that issue is specifically with how format returns. We need to create like a known questions thing. And it was that simple. Oh, we have test first failed. Attempted to subtract with overflow. Oh, so... Okay, so we don't want to do this. So n, if it's 1... If n is currently 2, then it becomes it. Otherwise, it becomes 1. Okay, let's see. 2 bottles of beer, take it down and pass it around. 2 bottles of beer on the wall. So we missed this one up. So this should be no more bottles, right? Take one down, pass it around. 2 bottles of beer. Wait, 2 bottles of beer on the wall. 2 bottles of beer. Take it. So we messed this up. So this should still be 1, right? So we missed the no more bottles of beer on the wall. We implemented it. Oh, because we can't do this n-1 thing. So we do need to kind of like do a bounds check on this. It could be very dangerous. I mean... So this needs to be n-1. But I feel like... So... This 0 thing, the 0 case is where it bites us. So I feel like we need to actually just take this out of there. And as much as nobody likes this, I think that we need to just do an early check, because if n is 0, we do need to return early, because none of the other work needs to be done. There's no point doing any of this other work. We're still failing. We're getting closer though. It'll take one down, pass it. And we still have it. Why do we still have it? I think we typoed something somewhere. I did not foresee this particular problem taking this long. Did anybody else foresee that? Okay, so we messed up something here in this plural it. That's our only issue. So it looked like all of our test failures were there, right? Yeah. Because these should all be 1 around. We've got an off by 1 error here. So plural it, we're matching n. This is based off the current quantity. It does seem to be a common issue with me, Xanis. I feel like everything I touch does not work properly. Maybe I'm not qualified to do this anymore. Maybe I've like written the maximum number of lines of code that any one developer can write, and now it's just all downhill from here. Okay, so what is your deal? Because we're matching on n, which is the number coming in. For 1, we're saying it. Is there a hard-coded thing in here? 1 bottle of beer on the wall, 1 bottle of beer, take it down, pass it around, 1 bottle of beer on the wall. Okay, fine. A beer, take blank down and pass blank around. So this should be right. So I went the route, function pluralize words, string match, format, no more. Right, so I thought about that too, like just kind of like writing a function for it. So this should work though, and I feel like I'm missing something here because this only has 2 arms. One is for if the current number is 1, and then everything else. But if we look at our test suite, we're testing 8, and we've got everything right. 8 bottles of beer, take 1 down, pass 1 around. No, this is what it's saying it wants, and this is what we gave it. 8 bottles of beer, take 1 down, pass. So why is it different the second time? Oh, wait a second. Because I am an idiot, everybody. That does not go in there. This is always it. All right. So we're missing the no more in this case. Okay. And I'm guessing... I think we're missing this last statement for... All right. So we've got all of that. Let's fix this one first. No more bottles of beer on the wall. That should be no more. If n minus 1 is 0. Don't be so hard on myself. Why not, Rockaboo? Okay, so 1 comes in. That is accurate everywhere, except in the case of the new quantity. We're still saying 1 bottle of beer, and we're supposed to be saying no bottles of beer. Why? New quantity is n minus 1, and that would be 1 bottle. And we are getting the line, no more bottles. No. We are not. Because I'm wrong when I... No, I do kind of self-deprecating humor sometimes. This stuff is all normal, right? It's a new programming language, you know, aside from probably, you know, a select few people picking up a new thing like that. You're going to stumble around, you know, first few days, it's going to feel like you're making 0 progress. And then you'll get it a little more, you'll get it a little more. And then, you know, I'm just making jokes. I fully realized I was going to stumble through all of this stuff. And I'm actually really glad I have people here who have done Rust and can point me at things and tell me when things aren't idiomatic. Okay. So this is not happening. And what is the value that it's saying? It's saying 1 bottle of beer. So n minus 1 is not accurate. Current quantity, and that's fine in this case, right? Current quantity, yep. So why is n minus 1 not matching here? I'm gonna move that up just so they're kind of ordered. I get that this one, the song one, we know is wrong. We're returning nothing for this song. So this one looks like it's going to be an easy fix. This one is the weird one that I'm not entirely sure why we're not getting no more bottles. Because in the case n is 1, so the current quantity oh, it's the hard-coded one. Pass it around. No more bottles of beer on the wall. I wouldn't really call it pure negative. It's more dope, but glad I figured out something. Well, if you're going to go so self-deprecating humor, you need to go next level. Maybe something like, I've done some development for Internet Explorer. Do you think that's my problem? So I actually have done. I did web development back in IE6 days at Disney. So I have battle wounds for that. Okay, so now I think our only issue is just this final statement with the go to the store and buy some more. And we're going to do that at the end of whenever we have 0. So at the end of this one, I guess it would be. Why did that not copy? Oh, there we go. And I'm guessing we need a space there. Oh, did we break something else? Test first one. So why in this case does so my guess is what it wants us to do here is I think it wants us to append it here. Like if song or if end is 0, then we like push that, go to the store, buy some more onto the end. Why is that our only answer? I feel like this is not working the way we think it should. I do have diagnostic. I think I turned it off on the Rust analyzer thing for LSP so that I could... I was trying to figure out why it wasn't working the other night. And so I just need to go in and re-enable it all. So I feel like this is not... Let's just take this one exercise here. And let's just step through it. What is the deal here? Okay. So this means that only that final push onto the string was there, which means nothing executed here. And so if we do a print line here, we're just going to print the number. Yeah, so we're not hitting that range at all. And what was the starting number? So 3 is the starting number. So why would that range not... I feel like I had a similar issue with another thing I was trying to solve with ranges before. So 3 and 0. So why... Oops. Trying to understand this range stuff here. So why does that range not execute in this particular case? Because it is executing for other cases. Welcome back, Dr. Dumenberg. You broke it. I'm blaming this one on you. So... there's something I am missing about this logic.
Sir, maybe technology's not your strong suit. Perhaps a career in professional sandwich artistry?
I'm thinking that is probably appropriate at this point. All right, I want to try something here. Let's just make up numbers. Well, we're gonna have to shadow these and say let's 5. I don't know. Let end equal 4. What happens? I didn't see anything. So I don't see anything spit out here either. So why is this loop not executing? But it did when it was like 8 or something, right? Like those tests pass. No. This is odd. So we have a bunch of verses that pass, but the ones that don't pass, we see no iterations of that loop for the range. Here's a hint. End ... start +1 ... reverse map in the range 3.00 doesn't have any elements. Okay, let's look at that. We're learning. Wait. All right, how do we get like our own thing here? We want to clear it. How do we clear it? Guess we just delete it all. And Can we just print any type? I think we do that with like is it this? And then we could give it a range of 3.0. Oh, that's just giving us the range. Second link. Okay. Let's look. We're learning. Okay, you're collecting it into a vector. Okay. And it's empty. Okay, so we can't do a range because if we had done the other way, 0 to 3, this would give us what we're thinking. Well, it's not inclusive. So that's really interesting that we only can do it in one direction. So it looked like somebody in the chat had a suggestion for how we do that. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Okay. So this code is courtesy of Law is Debug. All right. So here we're taking n.start plus 1, and then we're reversing it. What? Okay, so you're just using a mapping function here instead of the loop. So let's break this up one piece at a time. So let's take this logic first, and we're going to swap out our code here. All right, what do we got? What do we got? Okay, so we have solved our issue. So this is going to be textual. So 3 bottles of beer on the wall, 3 bottles of beer, take one down, pass around, 2 of beer. Wait. Okay, so here's our issue. 2 new lines. So which direction is this that it is wanting us to do? Test song or test tab new test. Okay, and this was test song 3. So we are on the left hand side, so it is expecting an extra new line after each statement. Okay. I hope every train I get on is functional. I'll get on the functional train. Yeah, so I used to do a bit of this when I did Ruby, but it's actually been a few years. Okay, so we're going to convert it to the functional equivalent because I do want to learn to do this idiomatically. So, but first, let's try to fix our problems here. So, in this case, we need to we only want to do this if it's not empty, right? So if song dot length not equal to 0, so we have something there. We're going to song push, and we're going to push a new line character first. This should solve our issue. Oh, how do I get just a single character out of here? The backtick? No. Well, I mean, I can do it just a push string, and that'll work. Okay. So that should solve our one issue here. And now we just have our one failing test. Okay, we're getting there. So where are we going wrong here? Oh, wait, go to the store, buy some more. Go to the store, buy some more. Oh, we added it twice. So maybe we don't need this one? And that was just an issue with... Okay. Fixed! We got it working!
What color shall we paint this bike shed, sir?
Okay.
I've always been fond of pastel.
So now we have a working implementation. So now let's try to do the idiomatic Rust way, which is to do this inside of a functional.
Yeah, it's super creative.
For anybody who has not been here, that is my ridiculous voice saying super creative. We talked about the bot applying sound effects to my microphone. One of them was a high-pitched voice, and Rocker Boo caught me saying super creative with a very funny voice effect. And now it lives on. Yeah, that was me. It was the day that we were setting up the VST plugins through the bot to be applied to here. And Rocker Boo happened to clip me with that effect saying it's super creative. And now it lives for eternity here and on Began's channel. Thanks for the follow, UJJ. And I have the feeling it's going to make its rounds everywhere else too. Okay, so wait, what did we break here? Oh, this is just a semicolon thing. Okay, so this is going to create a new map, and the map is going to contain each individual verse. Okay. So then we would want to do a collect on it. And let's just comment this out for a second. And we don't need to even return this because that's what we're returning from there. And that's not used. Okay, so we have some failing tests here. Okay, so where are we going on? Almost 8 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass around, 7 bottles of beer on the wall. Okay, so we're missing this new line here. So that's really our only issue is we want a new line appended if there's anything before it. So, I mean, I guess we could, another way to do this would be like an accumulator or something, right? If we really wanted to do this in a functional way, we could have the accumulator. And then we could keep appending to it. And we could do that same check here. Oh, there's a join method instead of collect? And do we just pass it the character? Oh wait, no, we need to do a collect. So we'd collect it, we'd be collecting it into a string. No, it'd be a vec string, right? Now let's test it. Look at that. We are doing functional programming. This is going to take me a little bit to get back to, but this looks like a much cleaner solution. I'm sure we could probably reduce this down too, but I think we spent a lot of time on this exercise too. Cargo fumped. And then we can exorcism, submit, lib, or source lib rs. I've had enough bottles of beer. Maybe that is why I was struggling with this for so long, is all of the bottles of beer. I can't hold my liquor anymore. All right. What is our next exercise? Beer song. Proverb. Checks list of submitted exercises. Is that so that you have some samples? All right. I think that before we get started on this, I am just going to take a quick bio break, and I will be right back. Let's see. Why is my... Thanks for the follow, Nice LA. All right, I will just leave this up for you so that you can have music. I need to add that there.
Sir. It appears we have a new follower.
You know what's funny? Wait. What is the someone do it? What are you all
Intruder
plotting?
alert. An unauthorized connection has been detected.
And I don't even know why I bothered. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. I was like, I don't even know why I bothered putting that up. I remembered that I gave you all that ability, so. All right. So our next one, proverb. For want of a horseshoe nail, a kingdom was lost, or so the saying goes. Given a list of inputs, generate the relevant proverb. For example, given the list nail, shoe, horse, rider, message, battle, kingdom, you will output the full text of this proverbial rhyme. For want of a nail, the shoe was lost. For want of a shoe, the horse was lost. For want of a horse, the rider was lost. For want of a rider, the message was lost. For want of a message, the battle was lost. For want of a battle, the kingdom was lost. And all for the want of a nail. Okay. Let's do it. All right. Proverb. So let's take a look at the tests to see what kind of things it's checking first. Test proverb. Okay. So it's going to give us this input vector, nail, shoe. And we're going to do for want of a nail, the shoe was lost. Chat, the most important thing for us to come up with is the nouns Mad Lib style. Okay, so we implement this first to submit the tests, and then we will change out the mappings for nouns, and we'll see what we come with. So they're going to give us a vector of things. And so first we have these statements here, right? So let's just take a look at these really quick. For want of a something, right? So this is a basic format. Each thing is going to be constructed of for want of a something, the something was lost. Yellow tinted sunglasses, eye protection, ability to see, ability to stream, the global economy. Okay, we're going to copy these. We'll put them in a comment at the top and we'll swap them out. All right, here we go. Whoa. Okay. All right. Credit where credit's due. Although we're already breaking our column limit here. One word or the whole. So, okay, yeah. Everybody workshop it and tell me what we're coming up with. So, we've got this statement, and the end statement is all for the want of a nail. So, this is always nail, shoe, horse. So it looks like it's always going to be checking that. Oh, okay, so it's going to give us some other things, all for the want of a pin. Okay, so this is always going all for the want of a something. This is always going to be whatever the first element in the vector is. Or, whoa. No, they give us a reference to an array of references to strings. Is that the right terminology, or does everybody call it a borrowed string? So we need to iterate over for word in list, right? I guess we're gonna need to do. Wait. We're gonna go functional here. I almost screwed it up. So we're gonna say list dot. Does it have a map? No. So we need an iter map. Okay. So here's our mapping function, and here's our word. And so we are going to return back a string from format for want of a the was lost. And then, oh no, we can't do it this way because we need to know what the next element is. So I don't think we can do this in a complete map function.
What you're going to hear about today is nothing short of a miracle.
Yeah, so I don't think we can do this with an iterator. Unless I'm missing something here.
Sound waves reaching the microphone are changed into impulses of electric current.
Do we have a...
It's the most tremendous new musical experience you can have.
Okay. Primitive slice method chunks. All right, let's see it. Okay, returns an iterator over chunk size elements of the slice at a time, starting at the beginning of the slice. The chunks are slices and do not overlap. If chunk size does not divide the length of the slice, So chunking wouldn't work though, right? Because I feel like this is even more confusing though. Because each chunk size, right? So this gets us the first 2 letters, but we actually want the first iteration, we want these 2. The second iteration, we want these 2, right? Then these 2, then these 2. So we'd have to do something like really crazy complex. Okay, this is just in reverse. Yeah, I think a loop is probably the better way to go here. Just because I think that that's going to be it would be x plus x plus 1. So we could in theory get the index, right?
Invention and innovation.
Split inclusive.
And now,
What's this one do?
for everyone.
Over mutable subslices separated by elements that match. Okay, so that's not what we're looking for. Okay, let's go with our first implementation first. We'll go with this first, and then we'll try and see whether we can make this functional. Wait, method windows. All right. Returns an iterator over all contiguous windows of length size. Ooh. Okay, so yeah. This would work. So we need to do a list.iter. Is it map? Okay, so no, we just call Windows, and we tell it we want 2. Okay, and then we do our map. And I'm guessing this would be words plural. And so how does this work if we don't have exactly 2? So we might have to do some bounds checking in the beginning, but Prime, are you still here? Am I failing my interview? All right. So I know we needed to do this, the string from with the result, so that we don't get that crazy error. Format for want of a the was lost. Okay, so that should return us back. Oh, all right, so that's our mapping function. We now have a slice of these statements, which we then need to collect. Thanks for the follow, Howard T. We're going to collect these into a vec of string right? We'll collect that into a vector of strings, and then we're going to join that on a new line. And this is getting really long, so we're breaking rules here. Can I do this? Can I drop the dot collect on another line? Unterminated double quoted. Oh. Oh, sweet. Okay, I can do that. So 2 positional arguments. Oh, we didn't supply those. So this would be, oh, here. Words 0 and words 1. So our first test is failing. Okay, so we're just missing the final statement, which so we're gonna have to assign this to something. Let mutable out equal this, and and then we need to return out dot.
Well, if you're wondering what's happened, so am I.
I mean, I guess we could do this too, right? So that would be a vec of strings. So then we could say out dot push, and then we would do a string from format all for the want of a, oh, I had it up top. What's the casing? And all for the want of a, it's going to be the first element. So all for the want of a period. And this is going to be list 0. And we have absolutely no bounds checking on this, which is not good at all, but all right, mismatch type expected string. Oh, wait, we need to do our dot join. Thanks for the follow, Remy.
Someone finds you interesting, sir. It appears we have a new follower.
Good, you're on it. I don't have to fire you all. I mean, man, it's been getting really expensive paying all of your salaries. I was getting ready to start firing some people. All right, mismatch closing delimiter. Uh-oh. Where did we mismatch a closing delimiter? Hey, look, here's our balance bracket problem. We're missing one. Mismatch type. Wait. No method found for struct standard string. Oh, we put it in the wrong spot. We need it here, not there. No method found. When can we go over my review? Reviews are annual, Dr. Dumenberg. Right now, you're on your like 90-day trial period, and we see whether you're a good company fit. If you want to learn some idioms, you can install Clippy. It's a linter, and if I recall, I think I have Clippy installed, right? Okay, so I need to just figure out what this issue is. Oh, because out.push is not going to actually produce the, it's not a fluid interface. So out.push is not actually giving me back the vector. So we need to do this. This is my assumption. Yep, okay. So that's it. So that, it's just not a fluid interface. I'm one of those. I am one of those. Did you expect better of me, Doctor? I mean, what do you expect by handing me a fake resume with doctor on it? I called your university. They have no record of you getting your doctorate. Okay, cargo plus nightly clippy. Okay, so we only needed this because of the match statement. Oops. I have a PhD in chaos. I don't doubt that. So does that mean we also don't need it here? Okay. All right, so now let's try our ignored cases. Okay. So test 0 pieces. Okay, so this is exactly what I was talking about. We're going to have some issues with some bounds checking. So in this case, we just need to check that if list.length is 0, actually we want it if it's less than 2, because we assume that we're always going to be working with 2. Then what's it? Well, it's gonna panic. So let's just make something up here, and it's probably gonna yell us. I'll have you know my credentials are legitimate. If you really want, I'll get my benefactor involved. I mean, professor. Okay, so test 1 piece, left note. Okay, so it looks like we still need to... If it's 0 pieces, then we need to return back an empty string. Okay, so we know that here. Okay, so that's there. And you know what? Let's do this. So we're going to say if our let out equals string new. We're just going to return out here if it's not, no. If it's 0 here. We're going to go ahead and return early. Otherwise, we're going to map here. I don't know what this is going to do, though. Because if it's only 1, it's still going to blow up. So we need this to be 2. So we need if list. Okay. I can hear you all yelling at me already.
Don't you have more important tasks ahead, sir? If you shave one more yak today, you could start your own farm.
I can hear you all yelling at me already about using ifs instead of matches. Okay, so if the length is 0, then is it okay to return from this in this arm? Is that okay? Didn't even have to say anything, continues to eat lunch. So can we just return in a match arm? Is that valid? Return in a function whose return type is not. Return type is not. It returns from the match. Okay, so So we might still need this check then. We might still need that if statement then. And in this case, we can say if the length, if length greater than 2, right? Then we do all of this code here, right?
Don't you have more important tasks ahead, sir? If you shave one more yak today, you could start your own farm.
No, this match, we don't have multiple cases. This still makes sense as an if statement. If that one has to be there.
Perhaps another rubber ducking session is in order, sir.
Len if len greater than 2. So in this case, if it's 0, we return early with our empty string. If it's greater than 2, then we use our window function to add for want of all of those things. We collect those into a vector, and then at the very end, we push onto that vector. Oh, wait. No. Let's just do this. String. New. We're just going to return back a new string there. And then this is going to be vec string new, right? Comparison operators.
Sir, if I may be so bold as to speak for the viewers, you clearly seem to be enjoying yourself, but we haven't got all day.
I need to get more of these taunts made too. If you all have ideas for them, let me know. Oh, on the new side. Is that right? No. New? No. I know I've done this before too, and I forget the freaking syntax. Yeah, I've definitely seen that approach too, right? But if you do the vec macro like that, don't you actually have to give it data? Oh, that's what you meant by other side here. Vec string equals vec macro. I gotcha. Cannot find type string. That is a string that's lost its G status. Okay, so if the length is 0, then we just return back a string. We don't care. If the length is greater than 2, then we need to go make this mutable. Then we reset this. And then we always push at the end the final statement, and we join it. Look at that. How do you get the arrows on Vim? What do you mean? I'm not sure. What do you mean, James, that catcher? Oh, the airline or you just have to have a patched font. So all of that stuff, along with like the Rust symbol and stuff like that up in the tab, are just from having a patched font. You know, like Powerline or Nerd fonts and things like that. So, but yeah, the status bar down below and even the like little tabs are all airline. How did I know something with that was going to get clipped? Gotcha. Cannot find type string. That is a string that's lost its G status. Yeah. I want to get something where it's talking about Stack Overflow. I had a list of a few of them. Do I have the list here? Hold on. I think I have my list on my laptop here. Okay, what were some of the other ones I had? Something about Stack Overflow, something about spaghetti code, not invented here syndrome, dumpster fire, something about things being glued together with bubblegum and duct tape, and something about like getting off task and getting back to the code. But I mean, I suppose bike shedding and all that works. Wow, Pretzel Rocks is like just being weird today. Thank you so much for the follow, James. Okay, did we submit that? No, we did not. So, exorcism, submit, source, libr.rs. Next, moving on. Oh, wait a second. We can't move on. So we submitted this. Did we figure out what our verbs would be? Yeah, so the browser actually keeps crashing on me, Dr. Dumenberg. Like I can't actually like vote for things or add things to playlists, and the browser app has actually like crashed on me a couple of times. Okay. So, did we come up with what our list of things was going to be? Okay, that's where she went. I'm telling you, Dr. Dumenberg, I'm breaking everything the last 2 weeks. Like, every freaking thing I touch doesn't want to work correctly. Okay, oh, this is a librs, so can we add a test? So, we're just going to add a test just to make this so it runs. Test, function, test, our own shiz. All right. And we're just going to call build proverb, and we're going to pass it our input. And then can we just print this out? Proverb. All right. I know a gal that worked for a big company who was given the same tech that C-Suite used because she would find some way to break it constantly. When she worked for us, we had her beta test things. Exactly. Beta testing and fuzzing. Perfect careers for breakers. You worked for her. All right, so let's bring over this stuff from our logic, and let's, what do we have? We have yellow tinted sunglasses, eye protection, ability to see, ability to stream, a global economy. All right. So now we've got cargo, test. What was the name of our test? Right, test, inputs. We can't see the output? I mean, obviously the test passed. Why did that not work? Build proverb returns back a string. And all of our tests pass. So why you no work? I'm just gonna print. Okay, so I don't see any of the output here. So does the test suite like swallow up stuff? Oh, you saved me a step? All right. Are you sending me are they going to bill me for the Stack Overflow stuff? That's where all of the best answers are held, I've heard. The most secure code too. Answers. This happens because Rust test programs hide the standard out of successful tests in order to... Okay, so we need to pass no capture. No capture. Wait. Did I not get that right? Oh. No capture. Still. Ah. What's the significance of these two here? What am I missing with this? What's the secret? Okay. For want of a it's A. For want of a yellow tinted sunglasses, the eye protection was lost. For want of eye protection, the ability to see was lost. For want of ability to see, the ability to stream was lost. For want of ability to stream, the global economy was lost. And all for the want of a yellow tinted sunglasses. All right, we already submitted that. I have way too many tabs going on here. Let's close some tabs. Close some tabs. This looks like it might be... Leave that one open. And that's the Rustlings thing. We already completed that. And tracks, we looked at those. Okay, next. Oh, so that the hyphen before those parameters are separating what's being passed to cargo and what's being passed to the generated binary. Difference of squares. All right, find the difference between the square of the sum and the sum of the squares of the first n natural numbers. All right, we're getting into math here. The square of the sums of the first 10 natural numbers is 1 plus 2 plus up to 10 squared equals 55 squared, which equals 3025. Okay. The sum of the squares of the first 10 natural numbers is 1 squared plus 2 squared plus... Okay. Hence, the difference between the square of the sum of the first 10 natural numbers and the sum of the squares of the first 10 natural numbers is 3000 minus... You are not expected to discover an efficient solution to this yourself from the first principles. Research is allowed, indeed encouraged. Finding the best algorithm for the problem is a key skill in software engineering. Okay, so let's try to see whether we can implement like a crude version of this to begin with. And then maybe we can think of some ways of doing something more efficient with it. All right, CD dot dot. What was that one? Difference of squares. Are these Rust people trying to tell you how to be a software developer? I guess so. I could use some advice. Yeah, I'm not really sure who these are meant to target, whether they're meant to target people who already have software development experience or people who are trying to get better at it. I'm not really sure. And it may depend on who created the individual test. Okay, so we need to implement the square of the sums, square of sums, and then the sum of squares. Square of sums. Okay. So we're going to try and do this functional, and I'll see if I remember this from the wrestlings thing. So I know that we need to do a range, and so, wait. Let's double check this logic. Okay, so n represents that number of natural numbers. So that's, I'm assuming we're starting with 1. So we're going to start with 1 to n. Right? Okay. So now we need to... Is that already an iterator? What am I missing here? No. Just map on it? Okay, so it's already an iterator. Okay. Okay, so we have our mapping function, and now I'm trying to remember, I don't have to do anything special for an accumulator, right? Is this how that works? So, well, no. So I looked at this, yeah, Saturday, Rust accumulator, and I thought it was just part of the map function. Let's get some font. Well, that's not helpful. The feeling when you have spent an hour debugging an error and it was missing an import the entire time. It happens to us all. No, this is not. Is it fold? Is that what I'm looking for? Yeah, fold. That's what we're looking for. Somebody showed me this yesterday, and I liked it. Okay, so fold is an iterator method that applies a function producing a single final value. Fold takes 2 arguments, an initial value, and a closure with 2 arguments, an accumulator and an element. The closure returns the value that the accumulator should have for the next iteration. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Was it you, Rocker Boo, who was showing me the accumulator yesterday? I think that this is probably the perfect place for that. So we've got fold. Our initial value is going to be 0. And then we've got our accumulator and our item. And so inside of here, we need accumulator to equal square of sum. Square of sum. All right, so that's just going to add that there. And then we need to take that sum wait. Oh, right, because the result of it is set to accumulator. Right. Okay. So then we should be able to just return sum times sum, right? And now sum of squares should be similar, except this one we should be able to just take this and then do accumulator plus I times I. And I always like to do this. I know it's not necessary, but I like doing mathematical things. I like to try to be explicit to show order of operations, just because it's easier to reason about. Finally, what I thought I would get done this morning, I have finally accomplished. So I had a week, maybe 2 weeks ago, where I figured I'd knock something out in like an hour or two on Monday morning. And I worked like 16-hour days all week long. And I worked 16 hours a day each day over the weekend. And I still didn't accomplish that thing I thought I was going to get done Monday morning. Okay, so this did not produce what we expected it to. Test square of sum 1. All right, let's look at our tests. All right, so square of sum 1. Are we missing an edge case here? Oh, because this iterator would be... So we just have a couple of edge cases here. So if n is 1, then we're just going to return 1, right? And that should fix this test case. And square of n, so let's see. If it's 1, it's the same thing, because the square of 1 is 1, so we're just going to reuse that same value here. Anybody here that does Rust quite a bit, is it idiomatic to leave this space here separating these two statements? Or do you bunch it all together? Because some languages, including Go, some people like really, really reduce their white space. You add the space? Okay. All right, so we have 7 failures. So clearly I'm not as good at functional programming as I thought I was. Oh, so these are not right. Oh, wait a second. Because this is not inclusive. And I think somebody said the equal sign makes it inclusive. Thank you so much for the follow, Simon. Okay, so we have 5 more pass. So we're testing differences. Oh, because we didn't implement differences.
Someone finds you interesting, sir. It appears we have a new follower.
We need more of those. I want like 100 different just taunting Jarvis. And we need to name him. It can't be Jarvis, that name's taken. Currently his name is Eric BotDev. I mean, we can leave the bot name that, and we can just call the AI butler, rude AI butler, something else. Okay, so we need to implement the difference. So this would just be difference between square of sum 1 and sum of square. I'm assuming this is the order that they're talking about. So this would be between square of sum n minus sum of squares, n Remove our unimplemented. Look at that. All right, cargo, not cargo. Exorcism, submit, source lib rs. Just pronounce it with a soft J. Yarvis. Okay. Hey, look at this. Do you think Began walks through this? He does Rust. Is that him? All right, sum of multiples. Now we're just doing a bunch of math. All right, given a number, find the sum of all unique multiples of particular numbers up to but not including that number. So, if we list all natural numbers below 20 that are multiples of 3 or 5, we get 3, 5, 6, 9, 10, 12, 15, and 18. The sum of these multiples is 78. Find the sum of all the unique multiples. Some exercises are to learn a language. The intermediate should be up your alley. What do you mean, Vega? Okay, so I'm just wrapping my head around what we're doing here. So, given a number, find the sum of all the unique multiples of particular numbers up to but not including that number. So, okay, so that's going to be the end number. So, let's just copy. Well, first we need to download our exercise. Oops. Sum of multiples. Quit. Okay, so and let's just copy over the reals real quick. All right. At least in practice modes, it shows different difficulty levels. Yeah, so right now, I wanted to go through the mentor track because I thought it would be interesting to have people who know Rust better than I do to do things. And, you know, a prime example of that was the one that I submitted last night. You know, the mentor was, you know, pointed something out like that you can reverse an iterator and to try that out. That's something I probably wouldn't have thought of. As soon as I got the code to work, you know, it works. Thanks for the follow, HSR. Linux plus Rust equals like...
Someone finds you interesting, sir. It appears we have a new follower.
Okay, so let's just copy this really quick just so we have an idea of the things that we're trying to implement here. Ooh. That is... I guess we're gonna... Okay, so this is what we're trying to do. So if we get a list of natural numbers, factors, what is that parameter coming in? It's an array of factors. If we list all the natural numbers below 20 that are multiples of 3 or 5, so it's passing in our factors? Given a number, find the sum of all the unique multiples of that particular number up to but not including that number. So I'm confused what this factors number is. So let's start with our range here. So we're gonna start with, that's the limit. So we're gonna start with 0, I guess, and move our way up to limit. And it already says that it's not inclusive. So we're gonna map this, and we'll just call this N. So I did have 1080p, and I was recommended to change it to 720 just because of access to encoders. So, I mean, if everybody wants me to do 1080, I'll do 1080. That's easy enough for me to switch and go back to it. But somebody was telling me that not everybody, especially around the world, has is guaranteed like encoders. So then it ends up being a position where if you don't have a stable video connection, then you can't watch it at all. I have encode options. Is it guaranteed all of the time though? Is it per streamer? Or like, could I stream this time and have adaptive bitrate, but not other times? Oh, it's based on the most popular streams. Yeah, so partners like get priority to transcoders. Maybe affiliates also get like, you know, separate, you know, where it's sort of like partner gets priority, and then if there's room left, then affiliate, and then everybody else. I don't know. But I mean, I can start doing 1080. Oh, top 1024 streams. I don't think I'm topping gamers. So. All right, so this is not going to work because this is just going to give us. Well, no, because we could still use the accumulator thing, right? So if we did fold. Wait. We're gonna start with 0. Okay, so we've got our accumulator, and then accumulator plus list all natural numbers below 20 that are multiples of 3 or 5. We get is this right? If we do like a giant if statement here, that doesn't feel right to me. Or a match. Is this valid to do? Like if we say, you know, I'm guessing that slice is the list of factors that we need to. So we would need to like iterate over our factors and then check this that are multiples. So if so we'd like match on F here. Oh, okay, right. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. And then we could fold it, right? Okay, so we've got N here, and we're gonna say, but here's the thing though, I believe, let's go look at the tests, because there's this factors thing here, that's not going to be hard coded. I think we're gonna have to iterate over these. Yeah, one factor has multiples within limit. So I think this is supplying us with what our factors are. So, I mean, I guess that we could still do it, right? So we could use the filter here to right? And we could say for f in factors, right? So if it's in factors, so we want to see if n modulo f equals 0. Well, so this just needs to return true, right? No, we would need to do an if. I feel like that's like... I don't feel like this is the idiomatic way to do this. So, let's see. What do we got going? Right, Boolean, you can iterate using functional too. Yeah, I guess you could do like an each, right? So here we would say let include equal false, right? Okay. All right, so that gets us our sum. No, so this just gets us our list of things. So now we would need to fold this list. And then we would do accumulator plus I. I just want to say I appreciate everybody's like insight and links into this, because this is really, you know, how you get good at this stuff is exposure to idioms and the standard library. Okay, test if any element of the iterator matches a predicate. Any takes a closure that returns true or false, so applies this closure to each element of the iterator, and if any of them returns true, then so does any. If they all return false, it returns false. But is that really what we want? Because we actually want a sum of all of the things that matches. Yeah, I actually don't have much of a background in functional programming. I mean, in theory, this should work though, right? So we've only got 2 failing tests here. So the factor 0 does not affect the sum of multiples of the factor. Panicked attempt to calculate the remainder with a divisor of 0. The only multiple of 0 is 0. So, in this case, so we just need some bounds checking here. So if limit is 0, then we're going to return 0. And that should solve that problem. Oh, nope. Attempt to calculate remainder. Okay, the factor 0 does not affect the sum of multiples of other factors. The thread factor 0 does not affect them. So we've got to divide by 0 error. So I'm guessing we need to check here to see if factor is not equal to 0. Cannot compare U32 with integer. Uh-oh. All right, McCann, have a good one. I think after I finish this exercise, I am probably going to call it a day myself. Hey, Sanjay, what's going on? I'm probably going to call it a day myself. My youngest just started kindergarten this year, and it is their very first day, and her day just ended. So I am excited to go hear all about it. So I'm probably going to finish this exercise, and I'm probably going to call it quits for the day. I don't know whether I'll be on tomorrow streaming, but I will definitely be on from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesday, Thursday, and probably Friday, because Aaron, my coworker who usually streams on Friday during this time, is going to be out because of dental surgery, and I decided, hey, why not stream an extra day? So this is the new language server protocol inside of NeoVim Nightly. So if you download NeoVim's Nightly build, then you can get all of this. So there's no COC Vim or anything like that in here. It's just the built-in language server protocol that's in NeoVim Nightly, as well as using Rust Analyzer for the language server for this particular language. And then I use Go Please for Go. You can make that inner more concise by something like NEF factors.iter any. Thanks for the follow, Caesar. Oh, I got you. So when you were talking about any, you weren't talking about up here at the filter level. You're talking about looking at the individual factors, getting an iter into the factors, checking if any of those returns back. Okay. So if f is not equal to 0 and n modulo f equals 0. So then we could dump all of this, right? So then we just have this U32 comparison here to an integer. Thanks for the follow, Nakuth. So this is, so I'll, you know, in all honesty, one of the biggest struggles that I have with Rust isn't even like the borrow checker and things like that. It's issues like this with comparing types and trying to convert between these. That's my biggest struggle, is I'll go to index into an array or something, and then it'll complain that it can't use that type to index it and things like that. I should pull request his search engine on Friday. Yeah, NeoVim and Vim is perfect for a large project. I don't see, I mean, it depends on what programming language and stuff like that you use and things like that. You know, the answer is always it depends. But I mean, I have used Vim for my entire programming career, plus when I was a teenager and learning to program. So, you know, you're talking over 15 years in total. And aside from a stint I just finished trying to do, like, I wanted to challenge my assumptions and stuff, so I did VS Code. It was like a little over 6 months I tried to use it. But aside from that, I've used Vim for everything. I'm comparing a reference with an integer, right? So we need to be able to can I dereference that? Haha. It worked. Oh, source lib. Okay, so we submitted that one. It shoves complexity in your face, which is a bit too much when learning. I'm also still learning. Yeah, and so I have similar struggles like this when I'm trying to talk to people about learning the Go programming language. When I first started learning Go, I didn't see it as a beginner language. And then the more I've used it, the more I think you can actually learn it as a first language. You just have to be very careful of removing certain things. Like if you don't pay attention to things like CGO, of course, but the concurrency patterns and things like that, it's a pretty straightforward language. I think learning like functional programming like this definitely is probably asking a lot for like a beginner programmer, somebody who's never been exposed to it. Because even myself, I look at something like this and it takes me a second to make sense of what it's doing. What do you mean you missed what I said? One limit won't contain anything and the fold starts at 0. Let's try it. Oh, that was the submit. Oh, you're right. Peyton, good call. Right, so I added that check for 0 before I changed this range. And I had not considered that because now this starts at 1, we end up getting this initial value from the fold. So good catch. All right, everybody. I think I'm going to call it for today. I really appreciate everybody hanging out. This has been really, really awesome. It looks like there's quite a few people here. Can I replace the fold with some? I guess I could. Let's try it. Yep, it looks like we can do that too. So, but this has been really, really awesome hanging out. I may or may not be on tomorrow. I will definitely be on between 1 and 4, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Feel free to follow and come join me. I will probably work on some more of these exorcism things. I am just trying to get up to speed a bit more on Rust because there are fantastic GStreamer bindings, and the thing that I'm ultimately going to start creating is a like RTMP live switcher. So, you know, think of like Twitch or something as the endpoint, and then a bunch of RTMP people streaming, and then being able to rotate
It appears we have a new follower.
who's being pushed to the final endpoint. And we're going to build all of that in Rust using GStreamer under the hood. So I'm just trying to like get a little more up to speed with Rust before we do that, but we'll start on that this week too. We got a couple more follows. Thank you for the follow, Folk, Peyton, and Baffs. Link for VMs and NeoVim for Go. So my dot files are all here. They may or may not be up to date. Let's see. Let's check it out. It looks like I do have some uncommitted stuff for my dot files, but here, well, Will I work on the binding on stream? So I'm not working on the bindings themselves. There's actually some developers that work for GStreamer that are working on some of the GStreamer plugins in Rust and writing the bindings themselves. But I will be working on the project that's leveraging those, that RTMP switcher. And I guess we can look inside of here too, and and we'll just look at, I don't know. I think 3 was a decent one. So here's like a basic example of what we'd be getting into. So this is setting up a source, and it's a URI decode bin source. So the way GStreamer works is there's sort of like sources, sinks, and then though a source only has a source pad, and a pad is basically like a connection. So it has a source pad, a sink has a sink pad, and that's where things go out. And then you have filters, and filters typically have one or more pads on both sides. So you can kind of create these pipelines. And so that's ultimately what we're doing with GStreamer. So the URI decode bin sink takes a URI, and this could be HTTP, it could be RTMP, RTSP. It sort of does the magic of figuring out what it needs to get data from that. Then we have an audio convert filter, and then we have an audio sync. And what this is it tries to figure out on your computer something. There's also an auto video sync, so it'll use like SDL or whatever it can find to be able to play this. And then we also have a resample. We create a pipeline. Here we're just adding our sources, sinks, and filters to our pipeline. We try to link some of them together automatically. So the convert, resample, and sync, they only have one pad on each side, so we can already kind of like magically connect them. And then here's our URI to, just a WebM file. And we're just setting properties on the source. And then here, when a pad is added, so that's when that audio or URI decode bin finds this stuff, it'll create a source pad. And then we're connecting these things. So we're taking the convert, we're asking for a pad by its name, assigning it to this variable, checking if it's already linked. Then we're looking at the capabilities and getting the struct off of it, and checking to see if it's an audio raw pad, and then we link it. Then we go to our pipeline and we set the state to playing, and then we're just going to listen on the bus for messages to tell us when we've received an error or a state change and things like that. So we're going to be doing yeah. So I'm not as familiar with Flink, but yeah, it's similar to all that. So it's a ridiculously cool project. We're going to try and use it for some fun stuff, maybe learn a little bit more about audio and video and how all of that stuff works, and hopefully build a cool open source project that will be beneficial to people trying to do live conferences in this current kind of climate. Dr. Dumenberg, rusty. All right. So I'm going to call it quits for the day. I'm going to go see a probably ecstatic little girl from her first day of kindergarten. I will catch you all on Wednesday at the latest. Thanks so much for hanging out. Does anybody have any suggestions for somebody we should raid? Let's see. Marco Bruno Dev. What's Marco Bruno doing? We've got Anthony Writes Code. Let's see. Lana. Let's try and find somebody that doesn't have as many followers to hit. Who's Marco? Doing some Lua. What else we have? Do we have anybody doing Rust? Coding a Discord bot. We've got Go, if anybody's interested in Go. I say let's hit Miguel. Miguel, I see quite a bit in everybody else's streams. I see Miguel in Primogens and Begans and Deej. Catch you later, Sanjay. I didn't think to look who all is all right. Off we go. Thanks to you too, Dr. Dumenberg. Catch you guys on Wednesday.